Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to open up this space to receive messages of divine love and light from my own higher self, my own higher guides. Ooh, those sirens. This is maybe a little bit of an urgent message that might be significant for you somehow. Now that I've lit a little incense, I'm just going to go ahead and close my eyes and tap into my breath and pull through any channeled messages that you might need to hear today. All right, one moment. Spirit, what messages do you have for this collective today? Okay, so they're showing me this really beautiful rainbow, and it feels like this rainbow is really, it's hard to describe, but really close to the ground. So it doesn't feel like I'm looking high up in the sky. It feels like I'm basking in these beautiful rainbow colors that are shining down on me. It feels like really sparkly energy. And then they're showing me this like pot of gold at the bottom, the end of the rainbow, which is like a funny visual that we often associate with like leprechauns and Look of the Irish. So you might be Irish yourself. This might be significant somehow for you. But the general message here they're saying is in wealth and prosperity. They said in good wealth. Any other messages, Spirit, that has to do with this visual you're giving me? Interesting. So they just showed me this visual of someone with like a cap and gown on. So you might have recently graduated from something or are currently getting ready to graduate. Or maybe my incense burned out. Maybe this is like a new level. You might have just gotten like a promotion or some kind of level up in your day-to-day life. So let's pull a few tarot cards here in just a moment once I get this lit. Come on. And we'll see what messages are associated with this, what would like to come forward. Yeah? I'm using this Tarot of the Spirit deck today. So let's pull a few cards, and I might even end with a little bit of an angel oracle reading for you. It feels timely. It feels like this collective is really heavily supported by the angelic realm specifically, especially at this time. So that rainbow curtain of light that I was seeing feels very angelic. So what wants to come forward? Right away, I'm noticing the Seven of the Fire card, a courage card coming out at the bottom of the deck. And notice here like that big bright sun at the bottom with some kind of like rainbow-like colors. So this feels significant. It feels like whatever you're stepping into feels like the natural next step. And right as I said the word natural, I heard natural born leader. So whatever you just graduated from, this is your season of leveling up, new opportunities, a step up on the ladder of your life. Yeah, the Sister Fire card coming out for you. So this is really about harnessing the energy of fire, which is really transformative, and using that to ignite maybe a new passion, a new chapter, a new era in your life. You've done a lot of work to close out the previous chapter in your life, or you might be closing out something right now, which feels, there's almost this aspect of feeling like a little bit ceremonial. So you might literally be walking into like a graduation ceremony as you close out this last chapter, but this also could be like an energetic ceremony, right? And ceremonies are really, really important for us to connect, I'm hearing. So you might have your own ritual or ceremony on a daily basis, like your morning cup of coffee where you maybe say your prayers, or you might also be a tarot reader. You might have a moment of ceremony to yourself every day, by tapping in and receiving messages from your own higher self, from your own guides. But this message of like ceremony is coming forward really strong. Maybe you recently did like an ayahuasca ceremony, or any other kind of plant medicine ceremony, immersion, a retreat could be a ceremony. Whatever you just did, you are closing the door, closing the chapter to something and starting something fresh and new. Yeah, Nine of Earth card coming out, the Zenith. So this is about reaching your kind of highest point. It feels like what the spirit just showed me is like a star or a pentacle, and you're reaching like the pinnacle, they're saying. So like a high point, fountain of love. Yeah, so a lot of really beautiful, that's a 10 of water card, and 10 represents kind of the closing of chapters. And I'm noticing here that it's like 9 of earth, 10 of water. And look at these really beautiful rainbow colors. What did I say about that rainbow earlier? So you're closing out a really important chapter in your life where you had to learn a lot. There is this kind of energy of the student, so you very likely might have been in school, or maybe this was like a spirit school, if you will, a mystery school, but you've been studying quite a bit, and now you're graduating to this next stage. And with the 9 and the 10, it's like the steps have been laid out for you, and you've been like 1 foot at a time, stepping forward, stepping forward, stepping forward. And now it's like you're opening up the pathway into leading yourself down a different route. But it feels very much like you've prepared for this. You know what you're walking into. Maybe this is like a new job that you're starting after you've finished schooling. Yeah, 7 of water coming out, the insight card. So you've done a lot of learning. You have spirit showing me like a strong spinal column and a head that's like sitting on top of, the head stacking over the heart and the heart stacking over the pelvis. It's like this like alignment that you've stepped into. Does that make sense? And now that you're aligned and that you've walked through certain lessons that you needed to learn, you're ready for that next step in your journey, that next, yeah, it just feels like a level up, like you've graduated. The Tower coming out, which is interesting, with the 5 of water card, which represents the spilling. And 5s are all about significant transformation, and so is the Tower card. And the Tower moments can feel very scary and like everything's coming crumbling down. This doesn't feel like that kind of Tower moment. It feels like you've been in a long journey, the last, I'm hearing 5 to 6 years of your life, where you've really had to walk away from something in order to learn something new. I also just heard addiction. So whatever it was, you had to, it's almost like those hardships that you experienced earlier on led you to this like mindset of being a student and opening up your mind and your eyes and having quite literally the courage to start something new. And maybe this was a subject that you had never explored before. This might have been, maybe people thought it was like kind of left field for you. But what you went through in that Tower moment, and as you stepped into this chapter of learning, Spirit is now saying like you've picked up the breadcrumbs that we've laid out for you along the way, and now you're stepping into something. You're creating something new for yourself based on all those breadcrumbs that you were picking up on. Yeah, so this feels very generic and general. This could be a number of things. Again, maybe this is like education, schooling. This could be like a job that you were, I just heard mentorship, or maybe like an internship, whatever it is. It's that energy of like setting your ego aside and just being a student and admitting like when you don't know something. So it feels like it was like a humbling process for you, but it came after a significant tarot moment in your life. So maybe you lost a job and then you started this like new training program and now you're ready to like launch your career. But it feels very like in the 3D, like very linear. And that you've been just like step by step completing things as you go. Yeah. What else came forward? The Hangman. Yeah, so your perspective is about to shift. Your role is about to change. You're going from intern to full-blown employee. You know what I mean? 11 on my timer as I say that. New beginnings. So you might have been seeing 11:11 on your clock quite a bit, or 1:11. That's a confirmation for you if you have. Power Shield, 8 of Wind is coming out. So you're really divinely protected, I'm hearing. 8 of Wind. Yeah. This feels like a really transformative time. And like a playful time. As you start something new, it's like, especially if this is a job, if this is specific to your career, it's like your coworkers or the team of people that you're going to be working with, your peers, if you will, aren't going to be, this is going to sound weird, but they're not going to be expecting like a lot from you at first, right? Like you're going to be new in your role. You just graduated. You're going to learn a lot in this next chapter as well, but it feels like the pressure is off. Like the pressure has been building up to this point to like get to that graduation. But then now that you're like stepping past that, and I just got chills as I said that. So it's like the learning will evolve and will shift, but now that it's like a new beginning, I'm seeing the Fool card in my mind's eye. So like take a deep breath with whatever ceremony, graduation, whatever phase you're going through right now. Again, I keep seeing like a cap and gown in my mind's eye. And if you're seeing this right as I published this video, we're in early June of 2025. So that is, at least in like the American school system, that really is the season for graduation. So that's ultimately the what I'm picking up on. The Mountain card in reverse. So you've really, really had to, humble yourself, I'm hearing. You had to walk uphill and admit when you needed breaks, when you needed to stop and reassess, when you didn't know if you could go any further. You really have been able to climb this mountain, and now you're at this peak, a plateau I'm hearing, but it's not like a bad plateau where the energy feels stagnant. It just feels like you've leveled up, and now it's going to, you're going to climb up that next part of your journey, the next peak that you're working towards. Yeah, but it feels very like grounded. Now that I'm looking at the cards, there's a lot of interesting. We have the 9 of Earth and the 10 of Water and the 8 of Wind. So 8, 9, 10. Again, that linear process, but also it feels like I just heard you're working with the seasons. So as we're coming up on this summer solstice, I feel like you're harnessing the energy of the climate of wherever you're living in the world. You're harnessing the energy of like the solstice to kind of bring about this new chapter, this new beginning for yourself. So you're quite connected. Interesting. 8 of Water, still waters. And this came out with the 8 of Wind, the Power Shield. And notice how many like blues and greens are in both of these cards. It feels very connected to your throat and your heart chakras. Let me just tap into that for a moment, one sec. Yeah, so especially tapping into like that blue throat chakra energy, it feels like in that process of learning when you were like an intern or a student, or my dog is snoozing right by me, I'm giving him some pets. Um, as you were in that phase of being like that schooling phase, you really had to tap into you had to set your ego aside and just admit when you didn't know something and speak up when you needed help or when you had a question that needed answering. So this feels, um, yeah, it feels like you've done a lot of clearing in the throat chakra as I kind of tap into this energy of blue, like a sky blue color. Yeah. And with that Eight of Wind and Eight of Water cards coming out, again, throat chakra healing, a little bit of heart opening. The Eight is all about like abundance. It feels very balanced, very grounded. Yeah. Back to that like earth energy. So yeah, this feels like a very balanced time, very like you're walking into a very stable era of your life. Mother Water card coming out with the Nine of Water. Yeah, that rainbow energy. Wow. So you're really quickly stepping into the role of spiritual master, and it's going to start to evolve very rapidly, especially with that Mother Water energy. You're here to teach and to show others the way, but you had to be a student first yourself in order to get there. Yeah? You couldn't just talk the talk, you had to walk the walk first before you could step into this role of the master. And with the Rainbow Mirror card, again, tapping into that rainbow light, you're here to help illuminate others with all the things that you've learned, to spread that rainbow energy that you're basking in right now to others, and to ignite the fire within them so that they can then go on to become spiritual students and then maybe one day teacher master. Does that make sense? So I'm going to end it there, especially as we end on the note of being a spiritual master. You're well on your way, and this is your season to graduate and to level up and to enjoy this next chapter, because it's going to be full of new beginnings, bright, beautiful energy, lots of colors. So comment below if you care to share whatever it is that you're graduating from. I'm so curious to hear. And with that, I will see you on the next one.